Will the Astros have their first baseman? We know that, but what will the Astros do next? They still have a hole in the outfield, left field. Are they going to roll with who they have? Are they going to go after a relief pitcher, Jurickson Profar, Alex Verdugo, Teoscar Hernandez, or even Anthony Santander? Let's talk about it on this edition of Locked On Astros.
Jainer Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we update you joins for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on X at Eric Talkstros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can I find you at?
They can find me at H-Town House on X, Instagram, and TikTok. They can find me at Stros411 on X and on Facebook, and Back to the Bullpen on X, on Instagram, on iHeartRadio and YouTube, where I'm always positive, always Stros.
Hey, guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe us and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go and check us out. This episode is brought to you by the Astros' obsession with certain players. They were obsessed with Isaac Paredes. They went out and traded for him. They were obsessed last year at the trade deadline with Christian Walker. They wanted to bring back Alex Bregman, but apparently we'll talk about Alex Bregman a little bit later, but it wasn't in the cards. So they went ahead and went out and got their guy in Christian Walker. So they were obsessed with these guys. They think that they will do well in Minute Park, like I talked about last show. And I do want to clarify, the Astros will be giving up a second and fifth round pick because they are signing somebody with a qualifying offer. But a caveat to this is because Alex Bregman at this point will be leaving the organization, they will be receiving a fourth round pick from whichever team signs Bregman.
Yeah, look, this is definitely I like the lineup today better than I did yesterday, Eric. You know, when we look at this lineup, Altuve, Paredes, Alvarez, Walker, Diaz, Pena, Dubon, McCormick, Myers. I mean, of course, McCormick and Myers. I don't know about that. Dubon in left field. Yes, I want Dubon in left field if we don't get anybody else. But we address first base. We address third base. We've got a third baseman or a right fielder or a center fielder of the future. In Cam Smith, we got another relief pitcher. But I think left field still needs to be addressed, and I still think we need a relief pitcher. But I like the Christian Walker deal, and I'm trying to find who actually reported it. Someone just shared with me that the Yankees apparently had offered Christian Walker 3 years, $75 million. Now, I'm looking for that to be confirmed by an actual report. I hadn't seen that myself. Someone just shared that with me here on X, and they said they heard it. So I'm looking for that now. And the reason why I mention that is because this is a guy that the Yankees were going after, Eric. This is a guy that the Yankees wanted. He's a 30 home run guy the last 3 seasons. They lost Juan Soto. And when you look at the Astros and Yankees lineup, there's not much difference in either lineup. I think the Astros actually have a little bit more star power than the Yankees do in their lineup with Altuve, with Alvarez, with Diaz, now with Christian Walker, with Isaac Paredes, where you have Soto gone, not protecting Judge. Now, to Judge's credit, before Soto got there, he was hitting well. So Judge has had a 2 or 3 year run where he has done a very good job hitting the ball, especially in Yankee Stadium. They got Bellinger, but Bellinger behind Judge doesn't scare me. What I would like to see, Eric, is I would like to see Yordan Alvarez get the most opportunities for RBI, and I would like to put the highest 3 on-base percentage guys above Yordan Alvarez, where he's 4th. But that's a stacked top of the lineup. And if you can get another bat and you can get, maybe another, 1 or 2 more players, you can really solidify this lineup and lengthen it. Now you have a platoon situation for Singleton. He doesn't have to play every day. He can be your DH against favorable matchups and hopefully hit a couple tanks out of the park.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the Astros did what they could do, considering that that Nolan Arenado rejected a trade. They feel like they couldn't get the deal done with Alex Bregman, so they had to pivot. They had to make a new decision. But I think that with the Yankees, like I talked about earlier, they just didn't want to go. They don't want to give up the draft pick and have to pay a lot more money. You have state taxes over there, so that was even if the Yankees offered a little bit more, that is a situation there. So I think that what the Astros are doing is they are solidifying the infield, but a lot of people are making a big deal about the fact that, well, you're paying other players. You're paying $20 million for Christian Walker for this year, and you're still paying $19.5 million for Jose Abreu to not play for your team this year. So that's what, $39.5 million you're paying for one position, basically first base this year. And so if the Astros were smarter, they could have invested that money a little bit better. But they had to do something at the time. They had to address first base. They thought Jose Abreu was the answer, and it backfired. Sometimes that's why Jim Crane doesn't want to make these long-term deals. And I know we're going to talk about what Passan said earlier about Bregman not going one and go past 6 years. It's going to come back to bite the Astros. But Jim Crane has made a decision. I don't know if I agree with it. I think it's going to, down the road, it's going to cost the Astros a lot of star players, but it's working so far for the Houston Astros. We have lost almost a star player every year, it seems like, and we continue to win. But this is his philosophy. This is what his I don't want to say his mission statement is, but this is just what he believes in. He does not want to get tied down by long-term contracts. Just look what happened with Josh Hamilton with the Angels. Look what happened with Pujols with the was it Angels or Cardinals? Whenever
the Angels. But Eric, even in all that, we got something for Tucker though. We didn't lose. We didn't lose all our stars. And look, guys, don't blame Jim Crane for not going 7 years with Alex Bregman. Have you heard of any 7-year deals that Alex Bregman has on the table with the Red Sox or with the Yankees? I haven't heard of one. Now, he might have them, but Bregman, guys, Bregman obviously, I mean, he says he wanted to be in Houston, but apparently not that bad.
Right.
Like you're really going to not return to a place where you built a legacy 6 years over 7 years, really? So you're going to get an extra $42 million or $38 million for that 7th year? I don't think so. You're not getting $200 million. If he gets $200 million 7, you can call me wrong. I'll eat my crow. But no one, I don't think, is going that far. This isn't on Crane. The Astros have like the 3rd highest payroll right now in baseball with all these signings. They signed a guy, Christian Walker. Yes, he's 33. But 30 home runs plus in a ballpark in Arizona, that isn't exactly a home run ballpark. It is a massive ballpark. And he did it in the National League against really solid pitching. So say what you want. He played in the best division, I think, in the National League, in the NL West, and he did that. He did that for 3 seasons. Now he's coming to a lineup where he's surrounded by hitters. I mean, I think what you have to look at is the Astros did get something for Tucker. They should have done this last year with Bregman. If they would have done that, they would have had more draft picks. Yeah, we missed a 2nd and a 4th round. Okay, whatever. I mean, 2nd and 5th, but you're getting a 4th round back. Now, what I think this does, though, Eric, is I think this kind of closes the door a lot on a Teoscar Hernandez or an Anthony Santander, because you sign either of those guys, you lose 2 more draft picks. So you keep losing draft picks, and that may be too detrimental. But what he's done here, 3 years, $60 million, $20 million a year. And someone said, is he Jose Abreu 2.0? No, he is not Abreu 2.0.
He's not in regression. That's the big deal.
Abreu wasn't in regression when he got here. Remember, I was convinced, because they signed him, I was convinced that they saw something in his swing that when he got here, he would get back to power. Even if it wasn't 30 home run power, at least 20 to 25 home runs. That did not happen. Okay. Now,
hey, Brett,
we'll get in.
I don't want to be Debbie Downer here, but Tanner Rome did tell some fans, Astros fans, something that might kind of contradict everything we're talking about. We'll go and talk about that next on the Locked On Astros podcast.
Hey, everybody, this episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. Rocket Money is what you need to find your subscriptions that you are paying for that you don't want anymore to get rid of. Why are you paying for things you don't need? Rocket Money is made to help you keep track and get your personal finances in order. It's a personal finance app that helps you find, cancel unwanted subscriptions. Rocket Money has over 5 million users. They have saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. For me, one of the best features is the subscription tracker. I've used it to cancel services I wasn't even using anymore, and I've already saved a ton. Plus, their goals feature, I've been able to automatically set aside money for my future. No more stressing about budgeting every month. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead, subscribe to us. Make us first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go ahead and check us out. And guys, I don't shoot the messenger, but this is what Chandler Rome said. They were like, okay, now that we got Christian Walker, do you see the Astros going after somebody like Santander or Teoscar Hernandez? And this is what he said. I would not expect any more significant additions.
Well, that's what I just said. I just said they're probably not going to go after Teoscar Hernandez and Santander. That's what I just said. They're not going after those guys. They're going after a Jurickson Profar who wants 3 years now, apparently. I wouldn't give him 3 years. They're going after an Alex Verdugo. They're going after Jesse Winker. I'm not saying they're actually in the process of, but those are the names you are looking at. Okay. And look, this is what I would do with Profar. I would look at his 1 year, his 4.3 WAR. I would show him his 2.2 projected WAR on Fangraphs, and I would say, I want to give you one year deal with a second year option. If you do that, we'll come back to the table. You'll be 33. We'll look at signing you for the next 3 years after that. Let's see how it goes. Prove yourself, a prove it deal. If he doesn't want it and he says, okay, you want 3 years, tell us what your terms are. And if the terms are within the Astros parameters and it's not too much, then sign it. Sign it, get him, because I think Jurickson Profar to me offers the highest upside because he is only 31. He was a top prospect at one time, and he's a late bloomer. Christian Walker is a late bloomer, and I don't mind that. The other names just don't super excite me out there as far as free agents, Eric. When I'm looking in left field, okay, I'm looking at non-qualifying offer guys. Mark Canha, Austin Hayes, Jurickson Profar, Alex Verdugo, Tommy Pham, Travis Janikowski, Jesse Winker, Adam Duvall, David Peralta, Sam Haggerty. It's not exactly a who's who of baseball. Nick Martini, Robbie Grossman. Wow, imagine him coming back. Eddie Rosario, Dylan Carlson. No. De La Cruz signed with Atlanta, but he had actually he didn't have a qualifying offer. Slater signed, Conforto signed, and Tyler O'Neill signed. Tyler O'Neill would have been great to have. He would have been great to bring in. I think there's names that would fit in this clubhouse that would make the team better. And you don't have to go out and give up an arm and a leg, because again, if you give up those two guys, that is a qualifying offer recipient, then you're losing 2 more draft picks, and you can't do that.
I'm gonna disagree with you on the fact that Jurickson Profar, I think that would be a splashy move. Yes, last year he only made $1 million. Yes, the Padres basically signed him for a 2-year deal, basically because he was down. But last year he made a big step in the right direction with the 24 home runs, batting .280 with the 10 stolen bases. I think that kind of ups his kind of level a little bit. I think that's going to be a splashy move, so to speak. I think it's gonna take a little bit more than what we're. It's gonna, like he said, they're not gonna. It's gonna take more than I think we're thinking.
Well,
How much?
his market value is 12.9 million according to Spotrac. So if you're going to sign him to a 3-year deal, you're going to be going 3 years. What is that, like 36 million? I mean, look, if I can pay an outfielder that's going to produce between 3 and 4 WAR the next 3 years, I don't mind paying that, Eric. But if he's projected to have half the WAR he was now, does his WAR change because he's at Minute Maid Park? Does his WAR change because he's in this lineup? Can the Astros and can Profar's agent bring to them to the table like numbers, right? And say, look, we put him in your lineup, we project him in your ballpark, and this is what we see. Again, if it's a deal that the Astros like and want to do, to me, he's my top guy. Verdugo is out there, but I'm not a big Verdugo fan. Just something about the guy personally, I just don't like him. I don't know. He just kind of, I don't know. Not a big fan of that guy. Kike Hernandez, nah, he's been a Dodger too long. He's got Dodger blue running through his blood. He just needs to go back to LA. Tommy Pham, too old. I don't want anybody over 33. I want 32 and under. Okay. Jurickson Profar 32. Boom. 2.7 WAR. They're projecting him on MLB.com. Fangraphs was projecting him 2.2 WAR. But, Eric, this was a guy when he came up with the Rangers, was one of the top prospects. I remember him, Nomar Mazara. There were some guys that came up through the Rangers system several years ago that we were like, wow, these dudes are going to be monsters. And then for whatever reason, they sputtered. Now, let me throw you a curveball, Eric. What if Luis Ariz came up for trade and the Astros got him? Now, he's typically known to be an infielder or first baseman. Because of his batting average, winning the batting title last 3 years in a row, would you be willing to trade for him and try to stick him in left field and let him hit in your lineup? Can you imagine a bat like that in this lineup? A dude that just gets on base? I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but he's on the trading block.
Yeah, who would you trade though? The Astros just don't have.
No, you're right. You're right. Hey, we're just throwing noodles at the wall to see what sticks. But
hey, Brett, before we go on to the next topic, I do want to bring up that after all the trades that we made, or the Tucker trade, the Astros projected payroll is at 203.6 or 7 million.
Yeah.
So that means that they have, after signing Christian Walker, that's going to put them at 223.6 or 7 million. This is depending on arbitration and everything, so that number could go up or not. So like somebody says, the payroll is at about 240, so that gives them about 17 million to kind of play with before they go over the luxury tax threshold. But at the same time, you've got to save some money for the trade deadline, because don't forget that it's not how you start the season, it's how you finish the season.
Well, but if you're getting a guy on a half-year deal, if he's a rental, you're not paying that much.
But you still have to. I know, but if you
is what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to. I really think they're going to trade. I think they're going to trade Presley, Eric. I said this the other night when I was solo. I'm sorry. You have to trade Presley. And
he has a no trade clause, though.
Well, I know. Tell me what you think about this, Eric, real quick before we go to break. Okay. Presley, you demoted him. And I don't care what Dana Brown says. He was demoted out of the closer role into the setup role. He was demoted, and now he's been talked about being traded this whole time. If I'm Presley, I'm like, give me the right team. I'm gonna waive that no trade clause. I'm gonna get my 14 million, and I'm gonna go to a club that actually wants me. I'm sorry. The Astros have clear signaled. What do you think? I think they've clearly signaled to him that he's not as valuable as he thinks he is.
I think the fact that he's actually come up in trade talks, I know they're trying to save some money to stay underneath the tax threshold this year, but I'll be surprised if they actually trade him. Not that there's not takers out there, but I think it would weaken their bullpen. We could go and continue this conversation, and let's go and talk about Bregman. This means he's officially gone. I want to hear your thoughts on what this means to you as an Astros fan. So we'll go and continue this conversation next on the Locked On Astros podcast.
All right, everybody, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. You know that, and you got to get into the action because the playoffs are right around the corner. Both the Texans and the Chiefs are playing 3 games in like a 7 or 10-day period. Hello, NFL. I thought you were all about safety, but I digress because I'm not here to talk about them. I'm here to talk about you. When you bet as a new customer $5 and get $150, you get $150 in bonus bets if that $5 bet wins. That's right. Low risk, high reward. We talk about it on the show all the time. So get the app. You have everything you need right there in one spot to make your bets. Get a hunch in the middle of the game. You can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com today. Go there, join $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go and subscribe to us. Make his first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go ahead and check us out. I know in my quick little solo one earlier, I talked about Alex Bregman, and this is the end of the road for Alex Bregman in Houston.
Yeah.
The fact that they now have a third baseman and a first baseman, there's no place to put him. I saw somebody after the show put a comment up there that says, here's a funny thought. Why don't you put him at shortstop and put him back at his natural position? The Astros are not going to kick Jeremy Pena off a shortstop. Where are you going to put him? In the outfield?
Oh.
So I just don't think that that's going to happen. I think that Bregman.
We got some interesting ideas out there for sure.
Yeah. So people are like, Bregman is their guy. Bregman, this has been one of those players that has been around for a while. And if you remember when I think it was George Springer, when Bregman was drafted, he told Carlos Correa, hey, that's the guy that's going to replace you. So this guy has been around for a while. He's seen a lot of winning with the Astros. So I could see why fans are pretty ticked off at this time about Bregman leaving. But I want to know how you're doing now that you know that this is officially over. And I wanted to remind you that, yes, we are still paying Zach Greinke $12.5 million a year.
Why would you bring that up? It's like kick my dog while you're at it, man. I had no idea. That's actually good to know. The more you know, bloom, bloom, bloom. There goes the star. And there goes the star, Alex Bregman. Look, Alex Bregman has made a conscious choice, and I think he's hung up on that 7th year, and that's fine. Look, he's going to get more money as a result, and I think he ends up in Boston. Do I hate seeing him walk? Yes. Do I hate seeing Alex Bregman and Kyle Tucker both leave in the same year that they were picks number 2 and number 5 in the MLB first-year player draft? Yes, 100%. I hate seeing that. But this is the price of business. This is the cost of having to move forward. And they were unfortunately in a predicament. And if you want to blame anybody for both of these guys leaving in the same year, you can blame Juan Soto. Because after Juan Soto signed, all the projections came out for Kyle Tucker, and Jim Crane's like, he gone. But Alex Bregman, I have watched him play since LSU, watched him play as a freshman, went to our first game. It was LSU Tigers versus the Maryland Terrapins, and they said, hey, you got to watch this kid. He's a freshman. He plays shortstop. He's out of Albuquerque. His name's Alex Bregman. He's projected to get SEC Freshman of the Year. That's what he did. And I saw a game or two where he played center field. He played third base one game. The dude was a gamer. His jersey was always dirty. And they had another really famous MLB player on their team, Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola and him were roommates at LSU. And so I've watched him play. And every year that he's played, Eric, I have seen him play for a team that I cheer for. And now he's going to play for the first time in my adult life for a team that I don't cheer for. Am I sad? Yes. But is it baseball? Yes. Are we the Houston Astros, and are we a complete organization? 100%. This isn't like the Yankees losing Aaron Judge. This isn't like the Pirates losing Paul Skeens. I'm sorry, but the Astros have a lot of other players. Maybe not a lot. They have several other players that are there. But you do lose intangibles. You do lose leadership. You do lose a firebrand in that locker room. The effects will be felt, but I think these are your consummate professionals, and this is a pro organization, and they do it the right way. I think the team, while they're sad, they're going to move on. Kyle Tucker, though, I'll be interested to see if Bregman's response in an interview is different than Kyle Tucker's, because Kyle Tucker in his interview did not sound like he was happy about going to Chicago. Now, he didn't sound upset, but he was like, you could tell he was in his feels about leaving the Astros.
Yeah, I think that Bregman's a different situation because he was a free agent. I think Kyle Tucker was expecting to play this year, and then the winter meetings happened, and he was getting ready for Miles Straw's wedding, and he was doing all the groomsmen thing. Then all of a sudden, he gets hurt. He hears that he's going to get traded or possibly get traded, and then he gets traded. So I think that he was still kind of in shock mode. Hey, I thought that we were going to go back to the World Series this year. So I understand that it's kind of like he wasn't ready. He wasn't mentally prepared, but it's a business sometimes. And the Astros made that decision. And I know a lot of people were talking about the fact that he said, "Oh, I'll be open to extension," or talking about re-signing or signing extension before I'm a free agent. And everybody's like, "Well, why didn't he do it with the Astros? You see, it's the Astros' fault." No, it's not the Astros' fault. I'm pretty sure that they kind of reach out to him. But at the same time, I think that his expectations, not just him, but outfield expectations, ever since that Juan Soto deal, it's skyrocketed. The value for outfielders that can hit, that could field, that could do anything similar to what Kyle Tucker can do, it's sky high right now. And I think that we're going to see ticket prices go up. You think beer is expensive now? Wait till we have to pay for more salary for some of these players.
I don't think it's going to go up that much, Eric. I really don't. I don't
down
think
the road. Yeah,
we're not paying. Do what?
Down the road. Yeah, I'm not talking about like next year. I'm talking about 10 years from now.
Well,
10, 12 years from now.
What do we care about beer prices 10 years from now?
Brett's going to be with a cane. Oh, I need a Budweiser.
Hey, hold on. Time out. Why are we talking about 10 years from now? I'm just trying to get to 2025, man. You got us going into like Elon Musk landing on Mars or something. But look, at the end of the day, okay, let me just put up Passan or Passan, however you say it. The reporter that stands on a box when he reports, okay? This guy, Lord Farquaad. The Houston Astros have traded their best player, Kyle Tucker, and are letting go of Alex Bregman, who has the most WAR for them since his first full season in 2017. In the meantime, they will pay first baseman Christian Walker and Jose Abreu a combined $39.5 million in 2025. This sounds to me like fake news. Anyways, the consequences of an unwillingness to go beyond 6 years on a contract reveal themselves in moments like this. Bregman and Tucker were drafted and developed by the Astros machine, which will struggle to retain its best talent as long as it places arbitrary restrictions on itself. This is an uncapped sport. The best players get more than 6 years in free agency. The Astros remain formidable. A team with Walker, Yordan Alvarez, Jose Altuve, Yainer Diaz, Jeremy Pena, Framber Valdez, Hunter Brown, Josh Hader, and more. They will be a contender and have talent to win a World Series, but they are objectively lesser team than last year, and that's no small thing in a close AL West. A close AL West? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? A close AL West? No, the Seattle Mariners haven't gotten better. They're still shopping Castillo. They have no offense. The Angels, really? Now, the Oakland A's actually have a payroll of $109 million, which is a shocker. They may actually compete a little bit, but the Rangers may be our only real competition in the division. What do you mean a close AL West? You got to be kidding me. Like, what is this this Northeast bias? I hear it all the time from other reporters. Oh, no, he's not biased. He's objective. He's objective. It sounds like he took a couple shots at the Astros. Okay. I don't, what kind of smarmy, that's a forked tongue. That's talking with a forked tongue. What? Oh, he's saying basically two different things and the same voice. He's saying the Astros are great, but the Astros suck. He's saying the Astros moves help them, but they hurt them. He said, well, it's baseball. There's uncapped sport, and they have to be willing to go beyond 7 years. Well, let me tell you why the Astros don't go beyond 7 years. Yes, they have one of the highest payrolls, but they don't have the same market size or market chunk. If you were to split revenue from baseball into a pie, the Astros don't get what the Dodgers get. The Astros don't get what the Yankees get. Talk to me about this stuff when the Pirates fail to sign Paul Skeens to a long-term deal.
Yeah.
If the Pirates sign Paul Skeens, that will be a shocker because they are not a big market team. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like that tweet. I read it several times, and it's kind of like slap you in the face and pick you up kind of thing. It's to me, it's a forked tongue. It's double-minded. It's not one consistent thought. I didn't like it.
The funny thing is, you said fake news about their combined $39.5 million in 2025. That is reality. But
I know, Eric. I was
to
joking.
fake
I
news.
was being a donkey. I can't with the national media anymore.
Right, guys. I'm about to lose it. So that's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. Brett, can you go and close this out?
I got it, man. Eric is. We're going to go to solo out. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to today's show. It's a second show of the day. Eric dropped in first. We came in together. We appreciate everybody here. Thank y'all for tuning in. Look, for the weekend, I don't anticipate us joining y'all until Sunday, but if we do, news will have broken. So make sure you check out Locked On Astros. Hey, we're getting closer. The subscriptions are almost there. Help us get to 13,000. Thank y'all so much. Y'all are the real MVPs. We love y'all guys. Y'all have a great weekend. Be safe. And as always, go Stros.